So the legend is that black labels are created in Corona, California, making them theoretically as good as any of the American products that were also being produced during that period of the 90s. Specifically the necks, some would argue it's just the necks, but also some believe it's the bodies. Now, I actually have published information about this. This is the Fender book, the second edition by Tony Bacon and Paul Day. It was published in 1998. And in this book, it specifically says, let's see, Mike Lewis, Vice President of Marketing for Electric Guitars at Fender, explains that, quote, the bodies and necks for the company's made in Mexico guitars are produced at the U.S. factory in Corona and then sent down to the Mexican plant. The book quotes Mike saying, There they sand them, paint them, and buff them, and assemble them into guitars with their own hardware. Also, they make their own pickups there, as well as all the Fender strings." End quote. If you want to pause and read it yourself, if that's focused. Anyway, this puts to rest a lot of arguments that the legend isn't true. In fact, it is true. Some Black Label enthusiasts may be disheartened to know that it's actually true for all the Mexican products from that era. I haven't actually seen anything that says that they've stopped doing this. I assume they have. Possibly at the end of the 98 era when the Mexican Black Labels were discontinued and a lot of the major budget level production was finally sent over for Squire to take care of in the Asian factories. That's purely my speculation. I have no idea. What this does mean is two things. One, I expect that the Mexican products are probably going to go up in value once people catch on. You'll see a lot of standard Mexican standard guitars on Reverb. They're very easy to come by. They still have fairly reasonable prices, maintaining roughly the inflation rate of their original sticker cost, despite aging onto 30 years now. What this also means is that I fully expect that the Black Labels specifically will probably exceed the standard label, their standard product in value, for one simple fact. These are the last American-made budget level guitars from Fender specifically, and as far as I can tell, maybe any of the companies. Once these were done being made in the late 90s, I don't think any other American manufacturers were creating a budget level guitar. That was all shipped overseas via Epiphone and what we now know as Squire, and all of these other manufacturers taking up that end of the spectrum. So because I know that these were verified to be made in America, at least partially, the necks and bodies for sure, the pickups are obviously Mexican, and the hardware, as everybody knows, is Squire, Asian. That could be the end of a particular historical era where American manufacturers stopped making those low-end products. The truth of the matter is that the Black Label is Fender oversaw the production of those. Fender, owns now even the Mexican plant, whereas any of the Asian products were licensed products. They were not manufactured by Fender. They were not overseen at that time by Fender directly, and so the Black Labels definitely hold a particular historical purpose, historical value that other Squires do not. that other, manufacturers do not. So I absolutely anticipate that these will be considered the classic guitars and basses that a lot of us who have been already aware of them know. I'm just waiting on the rest of the population to get the hint. So if you already own one, good deal.